here in the Oak Woodlands, which is in the northeast corner of Golden Gate Park, sort of just in the park from Stanyon, Fulton, 6th Avenue, and Conservatory Drive. Now we're here today because we're celebrating the 150th anniversary of Golden Gate Park. Up until 1853, this spot was known as the Great Sand Bank because it was just this giant sea of sand dunes. They asked a local surveyor named William Hammond Hall to survey the park. He designed what we think of as Golden Gate Park today. We can't talk about 150 years of Golden Gate Park without talking about one of my favorites, the Conservatory of Flowers. It's a national and a state landmark. When it opened in April of 1879, the conservatory was instantly popular with people. The west wing that's behind me was filled with ornamental foliage like azaleas, and right away, women began stealing plants from the conservatory to squirrel them away and take them home for their own living rooms and parlors and things like that. So, over 140 years in the park, the conservatory's seen some ups and it's seen some downs. So in 1833, there was a boiler fire that destroyed all of the original dome. There was another fire in 1918 which burned a major part of the potting room. In 1995, there was a major windstorm and it shattered hundreds of panels of glass, destroyed a lot of the plants inside, and people didn't know what the fate of the conservatory was going to be. First Lady Hillary Clinton came here and held a press conference around the Save America's Treasures program. That really started it off for $25 million that were fundraised. So the conservatory reopened in 2003, and it's one of my favorite spots in Golden Gate Park today. You can walk all around and it feels like you travel back in time. A real gem in Golden Gate Park. It's a little windy here, but it's gonna be worth it, I swear. We're in the music concourse in Golden Gate Park. This entire area was built out for the 1894 California International Midwinter Exposition. People would come here, see all kinds of things showcased, new technology, different cultures, and resources like minerals, things like that. Super cool stuff, mind-blowing stuff. All the buildings were meant to be temporary, except for the Fine Art Pavilion during the fair. And the original building had an Egyptian theme. So probably makes a lot more sense that there are two sphinxes sitting outside the De Young now, huh? Now, there are a ton more mementos in this area left over from the fair, and we're gonna go explore some now. So I'm crouched up against one of the original Ballard from 1894. Now you see it's not looking super great. The rest of them along this, with its signature chain link, they're doing better because they've been recast over time. In the center, you would have walked in and there would have been a giant electrified Bonnet's Tower. It looked kind of like the Eiffel Tower, had a giant searchlight on top and would illuminate miles around, including Strawberry Hill, where it would sometimes catch teenagers on a risque rendezvous in the middle of the night. So the next time you're in the park, hanging out in the music concourse, catching some spontaneous jazz performances, take an extra hard look at the wrought iron parts of the benches. If you look really, really close, it'll say Midwinter Fair on the iron of some of these park benches. Now, not all of them, and they've tricked you every once in a while because some of the recast ones say Golden Gate Park, not Midwinter Fair. But come to the music concourse, listen to some jazz, and find one of my favorite hidden historical tidbits by sitting on an actual bench from the 1894 Midwinter Fair. So I'm literally freezing in this classic San Francisco summer day, but we couldn't leave the music concourse without pointing out the Japanese tea garden, which was also built for the 1894 Midwinter Fair. Now this could be its own entire history moment video, so we're gonna save it, and hopefully when it reopens, we can join our good friend Stephen Pitzenbarger inside and get a full tour of the place. So behind me, you can see the Leonardos statue. He originally faced the other way, but when they redid this whole area to put the underground garage in, they turned him around so he'd face the pedestrians instead of facing the traffic going back and forth. I do want to point out, ironically, that the grandfather of Golden Gate Park, our longtime superintendent, John McLaren, hated statues. He didn't want any of them to be in this park. When various monuments would be installed here in the park, John McLaren's response was to very casually and sneakily planting shrubs and trees around the monuments so that over time they would grow and completely enshroud them so they'd disappear. So how do you memorialize a man who probably did more for the parks in San Francisco than any other person? You give him a statue, obviously. In 1911, M. Earl Cummings, who was a park commissioner, a sculptor, he sculpted this statue of John McLaren, who hated the idea. He said, absolutely not, no statue of me will be emplaced in my lifetime. When he died in 1943, about a year went by and he was placed here in 1944 because this, the rhododendron, is his favorite flower. He was superintendent of Golden Gate Park from 1889 to his death in 1943. He was the next successor of original surveyor and superintendent William Hammond Hall. I mean, I don't know any other city employee who was as beloved as John McLaren, and that's why we refer to you as the grandfather of Golden Gate Park. All right, remember, we started off this video over in the Oak Woodlands, which is right next door to the Horseshoe Pits. Courts, Horseshoe Courts. You wouldn't believe what some dedicated volunteers had to do to make this an accessible space for people to come recreate, hang out, and have a good time. So we're here with Peter and son Luke, who's throwing some shoes. We're in the Horseshoe Courts, which were founded in 1922, but expanded during the WPA. Is that right, Peter?
That's correct. There's just a long history of horseshoe pitching here since the early 1930s. There's a couple of major bas-relief sculptures like this one up behind Nicole. There used to be another large horse that was on the wall that has fallen off. We managed to preserve this one. Once I started the club and put up a little website, people just started coming out of the woodwork, sending me photographs and stories about when their dad or grandparents used to pitch out here.
And what's your club called? I know you have this amazing design that you came up with yourself on your shirt.
It's the San Francisco Horseshoe Pitching Club.
And you were founded in 2008, correct?
Correct. So you can come out and have a good time. And it's something you can do socially distanced because it's about 10 feet between the stakes. You can mask up, you use your own equipment.
Can you teach me
how
to play horseshoes?
I can. So my son Luke, he grew up around this. He's a 3-time state junior horseshoe champion.
All right, let's give it a try, Luke. So one of the main components of the WPA project that was here are these amazing bas-relief sculptures like you see behind us that were done by a man named Vet Anderson.
He was an artist and cartoonist. He was also a member of the Golden Gate Horseshoe Pitching Club that was in existence back in the 30s. He worked on animated films, and he was contracted to build this sculpture. The family is still very much in support of the park, preserving the artwork and the history that has gone on with it, because it's a testament to like what used to happen here and how many people and generations have come through pitching horseshoes.